Welcome to the Weather Guru podcast for August the 4th, 2024. Thank you for joining me. We're talking about the tropical update, of course, and all eyes are on Tropical Storm Debby as it makes its initial approach into the Florida Panhandle Big Bend area. Right now, the latest on Debby, as of the 8 a.m. advisory, is winds of 60 miles an hour. Pressure's down to 1,001 millibars. It's a tropical storm here. Mid-grade tropical storm moving north-northwest at 11 knots or 13 miles an hour. It is forecast to become a Category 1 hurricane as it makes its approach of landfall somewhere between the Apalachicola Bay and Cedar Key area, Horseshoe Bay Beach, that area, coming on in to shore sometime Monday afternoon. Now, we also have a system of interest out here in the eastern Atlantic. This one is only given a 20% chance to do 7 days, so we're not really worried about that until after it crosses the Lesser Antilles later on, and we'll see for chances of development on that. But back to Debby. We're looking at Debby here. I want to show you the outlook. The satellite loop here has become better organized, as you can see, with strong convection in the eastern side, still east side loaded with convection in the northeast and southeast quadrants. The western quadrants, northwest and southwest quadrants, very lacking in convection there, as you can see around the center. And also the center is looking a little bit ragged, but it is getting some more explosive convection as of the last frames here along the northeast and the northern sides of convection, trying to wrap around that center of circulation there. So it is looking better organized, and it is expected to become a Category 1 hurricane here sometime tonight, late tonight, or into tomorrow morning there before its initial landfall rendezvous with Florida. Now, as far as the hazards, of course, you have all the hazards down here in Florida, of course, in the Florida western side of Florida, Tampa Bay area, Cape Coral, all of that extended with tropical storm warnings and tropical storm watches all appropriately lined up there, as well as flood watches in effect for Georgia, anywhere from Savannah back toward Jessup, Hilton Head, South Carolina, Beaufort, Charleston, and all those areas under flood watches, including some flood watches still here down south of Lake Okeechobee. So you want to be careful if you're in West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, down toward the Keys. There's still a lot of rain because the system is east side loaded. Most of the convection is east side loaded here. So you're still getting those showers affecting you that will be affecting you as Debby lives northward here. Now, as far as severe weather, SBC giving it a slight chance today. That's a 2 out of 5 chance in yellow here. So anywhere from Gainesville, Ocala, Tampa, Lakeland, Orlando, down towards Cape Coral, Naples, Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, Lido Key, Siesta Key, Sanibel Island. Those areas are under that yellow shading there. And then we have the outline marginal risk for everybody else in Florida. And then the general thunderstorm risk extends all the way up the east coast here and down there and out toward the western subzones. Now, and as we get into Monday, of course, we have that elevated chance of severe thunderstorms coming into play as the system comes in. Tornado threats are going to be on the eastern side, of course, of this system, and you guys know that already. But what's interesting to note, the drought monitor here, ladies and gentlemen, because of the system here, it's going to be I know it's going to be a doozy for a lot of people, but it's going to be kind of a blessing for some of these counties that are in abnormally dry conditions here. And you can see in South Carolina, especially here, if the system plays out as it says it's going to play out here, according to the forecast, this is going to relieve a lot of this extreme drought conditions in the low country of South Carolina and the Midlands of South Carolina too as well. So if you're in Myrtle Beach, Dillon, Latta, Florence, South Carolina, maybe if you're down on the coast here, Moncks Corner, North Charleston, Hilton Head Island, you're going to get a lot of this rainfall here along the I-26, I-95 corridor, and that's going to relieve your severe drought conditions here that you have here, D1, D2 conditions and D3 conditions, extreme drought here, just along that little slither in the north east corner of South Carolina. And also in Georgia, you're going to get a lot of rain that's going to relieve some of this drought in middle Georgia here. So Macon, Cordell, Americus, Tifton, you guys are going to get that rain to help you out. And then in Florida here, even in some of the Florida counties, where it makes landfall here, close to these counties down here in Levy and looks like Gilchrist County and Alachua County, and down there some of those counties down there by Gainesville and west of Gainesville, you're going to get that rain that's going to give you abnormally dry. That's going to be erased now as Debby comes in and erases that drought deficit there. So that's the blessing of this system. It's going to relieve all of this drought conditions that we see here in the southeast corridor. So that's one blessing out of the system. But Debby is going to be a Category 1 hurricane. I want to also check out the public advisory here. The next advisory is coming out, of course, at 11 a.m. But I just want to show you that the storm is about 155 miles southwest of Tampa, Florida, 205 miles southwest of Cedar Key, Florida, as I was stating here. And like I said, the pressure has dropped a little bit down to 1,001 millibars. We expect that pressure to continue to drop as of the 11 a.m. advisory when it comes out. And this thing should be a hurricane by later on this afternoon. Maybe by the 5 p.m. advisory later on this Sunday afternoon, it'll be a hurricane by then. Or maybe 8 p.m. when the intermediate advisory. But in any event, the key messages here with the system, I want to show you the graphics here, and I want to show you the change in the cone. Hasn't been much change in the cone here. It shifted a little bit more to the west here as far as the center of circulation here. And so I would even be concerned about the western side here. Let's say close to the Tallahassee, Madison County, some of those places up here too as well, because even though you're on the western weaker side, supposedly, allegedly, of this circulation, you still could get a lot of gusty winds from the northwest, and you could also system passes by as well as heavy rains because it's so east side loaded there. So and then of course it's going to stall out, and so that brings a lot of rain into the central Georgia, South Carolina coast as well. So that's going to be a concern too. You can see the tropical storm bands here are just reaching sort of the coastline here between Bradenton, Palmetto, Florida, and down to the Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte area. So they're just now getting into tropical storm gusts here as some of these eastern bands, feeder bands, feed onto onshore here. So in any event, the tropical storm warnings in blue here are outlined perfectly by the National Hurricane Center, as well as the hurricane warnings in red here. So from Osceola River back towards Swanee River Bay and the Swanee River Valley, you guys are going to be getting a lot of the bulk of this rain here. So if you're anywhere between that area, between Lake City, Gainesville, Live Oak, those areas along I-10, back toward I-75 Junction, Lake Park, Valdosta, even over toward the west here, Fargo, Georgia, and the Okefenokee Swamp, they're going to get a lot of rain. Jacksonville, of course, north of Jacksonville, Ferdinand Beach, Amelia Island, Sea Island, Georgia, Brunswick, Jekyll Island, all you guys are going to be swamped with rain come Monday afternoon and Tuesday afternoon here. And so Jacksonville, I would be concerned for tornado threat as well. You guys are going to have that as a northeastern loaded side system comes to you sometime Monday afternoon and Monday night will be your greatest tornado threat there as the system pushes on shore there. So you be very careful there for gusty winds and tornadoes as well. It's not a high chance, but it's a chance that, but this size of the system is always a chance when it's east side loaded like this, the convection and everything. So once again, if this system does become a hurricane, the good news is, like I said, is the hurricane force winds will be confined to a very small portion of this system, possibly only 10 to 20 miles out from the eye, because it's not really a system here, as you can see, that has a big wind field. It has a sort of large wind field, but nothing really crazy that we hadn't seen before. So if the hurricane force winds do develop, they're only going to be within a 10 to 20 mile window of the eye, either side of the eye, if that. So that's the good news too, also with Debby. So just want to keep you aware of that as well, that it is forecast to become a hurricane. Matter of fact, I think it's going to become a let's check again. That's what it says, an 85 mile an hour hurricane. But it's still category 1. Let's double check. Yeah, maximum intensity for the models has it at 85 miles an hour before coming inland. So that put it as a mid-grade category 1 hurricane. Category 1, of course, starts at 74 miles an hour and goes up to about 96 miles an hour. So technically, that puts it as a mid-grade category 1 storm right now. And we don't see rapid intensification. But last night I told you rapid intensification with this storm was at 40%. And right now, I had to drop the rapid intensification down to about 25% for rapid intensification, because we just don't see the structure here. Once again, I tell you, the warm waters are there. We have all of those components there, but what we're missing the internal structure of the system, as far as the dry air and the wind shear that's coming across the southwesterly wind shear, and then we also have the dry air that's impacting the western side of this system, and so that's what's inhibiting it from being a rapid intensification storm. And it's almost the same deal that we had with Beryl, but with Hurricane Beryl, what was different was Beryl formed in an area where where they had higher, it didn't have high shear, but it had high, the system had high wind shear, that's what had higher wind shear, and so it had more, Beryl didn't have much time near the coast to rapid intensify, and it's the same thing with this system here, with Debby. Debby won't have too much time, and it's only about, right now, guys, it's only about 220 miles southwest of Cedar Key, which is up here in the Horseshoe Bend area, the Big Bend area, so, guys, it doesn't have a huge amount of time to rapidly intensify, had it been, started out the gate from when it left Cuba last night. So that's what we have going on here. Now, as far as elsewhere in the country, it's just heat out west. We have excessive heat warnings again for the high and low deserts of California, Grand Canyon, rim country of Arizona, Las Vegas again, be safe, and also Salt Lake City area. You guys, Ogden, Provo, down south in some of those areas, Park City, some of the ski resorts. Heat warnings continues in Utah, and it also continues up in the sky country of Nevada, Wyoming, and western Nebraska, coming across 76 there, heading back into Fort Collins, Colorado, the I-25 corridor. Heat advisories are in effect in orange there, so just be safe, as well as the Gulf Coast. We can't forget you folks down in New Orleans, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Biloxi, I-10, Mobile, Pensacola, Chipley, all these areas down here, Santa Rosa Island. Be careful, heat advisories. Enjoy your time at the beach, but be careful. There is some heat advisories in orange there. Elsewhere, it looks clear across the country, just cloudy, clear, hot heat, and this typical summertime pattern here that we see, other than Debby and other things that's going on here. So this has been your latest update from the Weather Guru. Please be sure to subscribe. Thank you for joining me here once again on this Sunday morning, August 4th, 2024. I'll be back on later this evening after 5 p.m. for the latest on Debby, what could become Hurricane Debby by that time. Now, take care. Blessings.